Wall jumping is one of the main and essential mechanics that you should have in a game where the main mechanics are based on parkour. So in today's video we are going to learn how to do a wall jump mechanic. So first let me show you what's happening here. So as you can see, I'm having here two big walls which I'm going to climb right now. So I'm just going to go on the walls and I'm going to be able to go upwards in the direction that I'm going to point. As you can see, pretty nice and clean. So let's see how we can do this. As well, one thing that I can do here is to just switch to variables, and you're going to see that I'm going to be able to wall jump a lot faster than the other one, and that is because I'm doing it another way, so it's not the same thing right here. So first let's see how I did it and what you should do as well to achieve this mechanic. So first let's just go into our viewport, and what we need to do is that we'll need to create a capsule component, actually a capsule collision component, and just set it to be slightly larger than the original capsule component which is inherited from the character. Right now let's go into the event graph, and also from the capsule what we want to do is that we want to make sure that we get the on component begin overlap and end overlap as well. So as you can see, mine are right here. So let's see what we want to do on component begin overlap. So first we want to check if the walls that we want to climb have a specific tag. So for me that is wall jump. So if I'm going to go into my walls and I'm going to type tags, you're going to see here actor tags one array element wall jump. Then if this condition is true, what we want to do is that we'll just create one variable out here which is going to be a boolean, and this one is going to work here to know if we can actually wall jump or not. So just create it and we are going to use it later. And here I did a function which checks some things. So first it checks if my velocity from the z-axis is lower than -10. So if I'm going to go into event tick, so I'm going to get this, I'm going to get velocity, as well make sure that it's just get velocity, really simple. I'm going to split the struct pin, I'm going to print a string, the duration is going to be 0. Alright, and I'm just going to plug the return value z to in string. Alright, so now if you're going to look in the top left corner of my previous standalone window, you're going to see that for now, the velocity on the z-axis is 0. If I'm going to jump, you're going to see that it is going up, and then it is going to go down as we are going to start falling. So this is why we want to check that. So this is where is the difference between can wall jump and the close to wall jump, which you might have noticed that are these two booleans right here. So the first one is if I'm going to get close to a wall, so close enough that I'm going to collide with this capsule component, I want to be able to wall jump directly. But that means that I'm going to be able to wall jump straight from this line, so I don't need to climb it even the littlest amount. I can just wall jump from here. But on the other hand side, here with the close to wall, we will first need to jump on the wall, so we are going to get, let's say, to this height right here. Then we are going to be able to wall climb these when we are going to start falling. So back into our function, we are going to check if the velocity is less than -10, and if that is true, we are going to set the gravity scale to 0.3. That is because we don't want to fall that fast. So imagine in real life that you'll be somehow holding to the wall. We are going to set the boolean. So if you don't want this version with can wall jump and you want with the already climbed a bit, you can just delete that and create this one. And then what we want to do is that we want from the true, after we did all of this, we want to add a return node with the output value, with the output to be of boolean and its name value. You can change the name if you don't want the value. And then from false, we want to set the return value of this from the velocity to be the value, and if this is true, we want from the closed wall it to be the return value. As well, here you could have gotten this one, but it's slightly easier to get a closed wall. So if this is true, the return value is going to be true. If this is false, the return value is going to be false. Pretty simple. And so if this is false, what we want to do after 0.2 seconds, we want to check once again if we want to do once again this function. So we are going to check once again if our velocity is less than minus 10. And if that's going to be true, we are going to stop this check. Alright, now on component and overlap, what we want to do is to, again, actor has tag, and if that is true, we are going to set can wall jump to be false, and as well closed wall to be false for me, because I have both. And then I'm going to set the gravity scale to be 2. By default, the gravity scale is 1, so you just need here to plug the gravity scale that you have for your character. So that might depend on your game. Right. So let's just summarize all of this. We are going to get close to a wall and we can wall jump or not. And once we are going to get away from that wall, we won't be able to wall jump anymore. Alright, now here what we want to do is from event on landed, we want to set close to wall and the gravity scale to be 2 once again. The reason for that is if we are going to go on a wall and we are going to jump once, you're going to see here that we landed. And normally without this, our gravity scale is going to remain 0.3 because we haven't got out of the wall yet. So even if we don't get out of it anytime soon, I want to set it back to 2, so it's going to be realistic. Alright, so now that we have pretty much everything that we need to check first, if it's working or not, we are going to go and see the mechanic itself, so how we can actually wall jump. So before doing anything else, I remember that you need to make sure one thing. So in Unreal Engine, by default, when you're going to get your cube and you're going to go 1 second to simulate to collision, you're going to see here that generate overlapping is false. And if you're going to go into my walls right here, you're going to notice that the generate overlap event is going to be ticked. So make sure that you have those as well. Alright. Now let's go into the input action. So for me that is jump. So let's see how we can get one of those. We are going to need to go to edit, project settings, let it load for a second. Then go to input. Make sure that you are looking at action mappings, not on axis mappings. Click this plus button, give that a name. So for me jump, and as well spacebar. So I need to give a button as well, else it is not going to work. Alright. So once we are going to press our button, we are going to check if we are close to wall or we can wall jump. And if we can't wall jump, I'm just going to launch my character. And here I am using a launch character instead of the normal jump function that you get with a template from the first person, is because I cannot customize the velocity, or I didn't figure it out how to. So basically this is doing the exact same thing as jumping, but I just had here a slightly higher value. And then if this is going to be true, what we want to do is that we want to launch our character, but of course we want to do this in a special way. We want to get our camera's forward vector, and then here we are going to multiply this with a float. So for me that is 4000, and as well remember that you can customize all the values that you have right here. So don't worry if those don't work for your game specifically, but you might want to customize them. Alright, so for me 4000 as I said, and here by default you're going to have like this, just a vector return value. I split the struct pin as well with this one, a launch velocity vector return value, and so I just plug the x and the y. The reason why I did that is because I don't want to jump higher in the air if I'm going to look upwards. I just want the x and the y value for this, and for jumping upwards, because if you're going to maybe let's say jump off a ledge in real life, you're also going to go upwards a bit. You're not just going to launch on x and y and then start falling. So this way we just want to get here a float, or you can just plug here 2000. But as well, if you're having some mathematic skill, you can as well here plug something else to, let's say, if you're having like a custom gravitational sphere, let's say for collision, and he can just use some of the values here to multiply and make this value to vary based on the location of the player, and then simply as that, just plug that in the velocity z, and we should be able to wall jump just as I showed you. But as well, one more thing, just for our safety, we are going to get the character movement and set once again the gravity scale to be back to the default value. As I said, for me that is 2. So this is pretty much all for today's video. Not something complicated, but a really cool mechanic. People have requested some parkour mechanics, so here it is, the first one. Hope that you enjoyed this video, and even though it's pretty simple, I think the mechanic is really cool. Usually you can find this one in Assassin's Creed, and as well as Titanfall maybe. So yeah, thanks for watching the video, I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, I really appreciate it. And don't forget to tell me in the comments below what did you think about this tutorial, and if you liked it or not. Also trying to get into these topics faster and make them as fast as possible, but at the same time explain really good, so trying to explain as best as I can, so everyone can understand and learn as fast as they can. And if you ever don't understand something, you can ask me as well in the comments below, or you can actually contact me on Gmail. So yeah, that's pretty much all for today's video as I said. Thanks for watching, and I'm going to see you in the next one.